Good evening. Welcome to Social Chatter episode 102. I'm Nick Rishwain here with
Joanne
Karasevich and Joanne.
and Christian Karasevich and Joanne Kroll. Our guest tonight is Joanne Kroll. She is the sensible organizer and a good friend of mine. A little bit here about Joanne. She helps people to clearing a path to peace of mind. She is a professional organizer. The company name is The Sensible Organizer, and helping people with home, business, and life. She'll help you to identify any of all of the. Do you identify with any or all of these statements? It says on her website. You procrastinate and avoid tasks. You often miss appointments and deadlines. You just don't know where to start, and you're constantly shuffling papers and items. This guy. You are not paying bills or invoicing clients on time. You feel like you have too much physical stuff or a long to-do list. You often waste time, money, and energy. So, Joanne, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into organizing.
Thank you for having me, guys. I got into organizing back in 2006. I was formerly an accountant, and when I had my first child, I retired from the corporate world, and I went into direct sales for a few years, and that's when my life fell apart. My husband and I were super organized. We had never had kids, and then, kids come in, businesses come in, and I was just like, what do I do? So in the process of fixing that, I discovered that people actually did organizing for a living, which back then wasn't as well known. So I bought a program, I started my business, and never looked back.
And do you find that your accounting background had you somewhat organized to begin with? Because many accountants that I know are rigid in the thinking and procedurally they have specific things that they want in certain ways. And was that an asset to you? Were you had some organizational skills just as by virtue of being an accountant?
Absolutely. I don't think you can be an organizer if you're not already organized. The piece that really helped me, though, was having gone through the issues of not being organized or having to organize others, because that's completely different. You can be organized yourself, but when you have to organize someone else, it's a completely different mentality because we all do things differently. And hopefully I'm not breaking up because I just saw my internet's unstable.
You're fine.
So, yeah, that definitely was an asset. I mean, I joke because I've been organizing since I came out of the womb, I think. And, I think I even have that on my website that I used to horrify my parents because I would show up at the neighbor's house looking at it. We happened to have hoarders on either side of us, which was interesting.
Interesting. So the organized person is in the middle.
Yeah.
And Christian is joining us with a bright white background and what appears to be a sweet new haircut.
Yes. I got my first haircut over here.
Excellent. And it came out well. It looks good.
I was actually surprised myself. It turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Good. So, and Joanne, 11 years as an organizer, and what's the number one thing you would recommend for people to do to become organized? Like the first thing or the thing that comes up the most with your clients?
Hands down, first thing is reducing, decluttering. And that goes with your physical stuff in your mind, and the stuff on your to-do list, your calendar. The people don't often think of the mind or the stuff on the calendar. So for, the physical stuff people always think of, but for the mind, the best exercise is to do a brain dump. And that's just literally sitting there and writing every single thought that's in your mind, even if it's, I'm hungry and I need to, go upstairs, just anything. And then from there, you kind of assess and look through and figure out what you can let go of and what's really important to you. And then you can prioritize. And the same thing with, things on your calendar or, for example, social media. everybody wants to be everywhere, and it's just not physically possible. I mean, you can be everywhere, but you can't be everywhere good. So you want to make sure that you're really looking at, listing out everywhere you are on social media, what you're doing there, how much time you're spending there, and then, taking an inventory and then letting go of things. And that's really when you can start to get organized. A lot of people think that clutter removal is organizing, and it really isn't. It's just the first step of.
Christian just went through a little bit of this clutter removal as he was as he was transporting or preparing to transport across time zones. And it was quite the effort, wasn't it, Christian?
It was actually. I will say this. I mean, it's one of those things where you sort of realize, do I really need all this stuff? And then two, honestly, not really having my stuff with me. Like, for instance, I don't really have all my video equipment with me. It kind of makes me say, what, do I actually need all of that? Because right now, I haven't had it for about a little over a month, and I'm totally fine with that, actually. Making do with what I have, just taking the things that are essential. And the other stuff, when I get it, I get it, and at that point, I'll probably make a decision if I want to keep it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but you got rid of a lot of stuff in the process, didn't you?
I did, actually, yes. And I think the hardest part, by the way, and this is true of social media, this is true of just as an entrepreneur, it's hard, at first it's hard to just let it go. You agonize over is that something I can, is that something I'm going to lose money on this? Oh, I paid, $50 for this. And really, once you kind of just let it go, it's fine.
Yeah. $50, but I'm not using it, and it's just taking up space.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So unless you have to think,
mind clutter comes in,
Yeah.
the stuff and.
Mm-hmm. And as a business owner, I guess kind of playing, building on this topic. As a business owner, it's one less thing. It's simplifying your processes that you have. Like if you're doing a lot of different things, and they're all producing, minimal results. Getting rid of some of those so you can focus on the bigger efforts, the bigger picture, I think is probably, is key.
Excellent. It's
good.
Excellent idea. So with that, I think we should jump into our topics. We got Bree Palmer here and Leslie Gustafson here tonight. Thank you both for joining. Our first topic for tonight, and Christian, if you'll put this in the chat, is LinkedIn video. Show your experience and perspective. Normally what I do is I'll do a background to give you a little bit out of the article on this matter, but I don't think that this necessitates that. I'm not sure if you agree with this, but we'll put it this way. LinkedIn video allows you to post a video directly to LinkedIn, much the way you can post a video or go live in Facebook and many other platforms. This isn't a live video, though. As I understand it, we don't have any indication that it is live recording. Did you see anything about that, Christian, or is it just recording right to your LinkedIn profile?
So it was recording right to your LinkedIn profile. The thing they were letting you do with this was you could record it. And by the way, this is only in the mobile app on LinkedIn, but basically you can record a video. Essentially, it's getting access to your camera. It'll record the video, save it to your camera roll, that type of thing. And then you can also choose to select a video as well. So it's either record it there, for instance, I could record it right now and upload it, or upload something that I've already recorded. So that's the only step right there that it offers right now. So I expect that this will one day become a live video. There may be an addition of the live video feature. I still don't have access to this, but I do think this is a good move for them. It might certainly, when you have something professionally going on, if you're at a professional conference or something, you want to upload a video right to LinkedIn while you're at a professional event or doing something for your professional, for your career. I think this is, I think it's a step in the right direction for them. I think video is the way things are going, and everybody sort of has to get on board with that. Joanne, what are your thoughts about LinkedIn video, and do you have it yet? I
do not have it yet. I like it. I think it will be a good addition. I'm not sure how many people are going to use it, though. People that are already using video, obviously, just same with any any story type thing. The only thing that bothers me is that I'm like, oh, now do I need to be on LinkedIn again?
Right.
Because I've been avoiding, I'm on there obviously, and I do connect with people constantly, and I make sure that I'm keeping my profile up, but I don't really post on there. I probably should be, obviously, since I'm focusing on business owners. So for me, I think that having video will help. Maybe at least let me be there a little bit more present without having to really sit and write a blog and
right. That would be the key for me, is just like, okay, if I don't have to write, then I'm more likely to post something.
Right.
Because I go through the paralysis by analysis when I write.
So Nick, one thing I actually want to bring up about this, because I know there's not a whole lot about LinkedIn video per se. Hey, you could open your app and record video on LinkedIn. The one thing it got me thinking. I was looking at, if I'm a business, I could conceivably go on and record some video and upload it, which is awesome, right? But the thing was, I was looking at the examples that LinkedIn provided, and one of them, for instance, is somebody in essentially a warehouse watching them I think they were moving, I think they were working with something really hot, almost working with molten, not molten lava, but in that kind of environment. And if I'm going to think about this on LinkedIn, if I am the person charged with running the LinkedIn account for my company, right? And I want to tell them a story. I wanted to get into giving them some insight into the stuff we're working on or whatever. The one thing that I think really just came to mind was, I wonder if there's any sort of policy in place for a business, to have that person essentially working in an environment that is essentially possibly unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
Because essentially, here's the thing: are you going to have, the person who's maybe the project manager in an environment? Are they going to actually be there, supervising the social media manager, or whatever, the social media specialist who's filming this stuff, or are you going to have to task, what kind of employee you're going to have to task with doing this? Because not every business is just hey, I sit behind a desk. Some businesses are, where, hey, they want to tell a story, but they're also in environments where they're not, they're just not, maybe it's not your typical environment. What do you guys suggest in that situation, maybe?
I suggest in that situation that they have a policy and procedure for who will be recording this, and preferably they have somebody who's certified to be in one of those more dangerous areas. Oftentimes there's a certification required, that they let that person do the recording and show them how to do the recording, and not send their social media person down there to stand in the way of a forklift or to look too closely into the molten hot whatever they're cooking or manufacturing. I think all safety procedures should apply in this in that situation. I also think that they should not be they should also realize that in those unsafe conditions, you're now recording, and if an injury happens, that's now evident. So you should be aware of that.
Absolutely.
Anything? I don't think there's much more to talk about on this. Do you guys? I mean, I think this is it's rolling out. I've only seen one person so far that I know. One of our former guests, Ivan Rakelin, has it already. He's on the East Coast, so I don't know how they're rolling it out. I thought if they were doing it by
Chelsea has it too. She made some comments.
Oh, Chelsea does? Okay. So,
yeah, and Bill Flannery.
Flannery's got it too?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so it is rolling out. I wonder how they're rolling it out. If it's a number of connections, or because if it were by last name or something like that, which oftentimes I've seen things rolled out that way. I thought Ivan and I would get it at the same time, but it must be number of followers or location or something like that.
I saw somebody say that they were going to roll it out to everybody in the next 48 hours. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it'll be.
And all they're going to do is issue basically an app update. So if you don't have it, if you're basically what you'll do is, check your app store, see if you've got the latest version of LinkedIn. And then what you'll also want to do then is in the share box, you'll get a video option. If you're on, you'll get the share box on iOS or video button, and then you'll have a post button on Android. So that would actually, that's how you're basically going to know you're going to get this. By the way, Chelsea seems to have amazing results with this so far. She said, I think she said she posted a 10-second video, got over 500 views. I will say, while LinkedIn is starting to look a lot like Facebook, I think that this is going to be, I'm wondering if this will actually start to kind of, pull some people away from Facebook over to LinkedIn.
I think a lot of people would be interested in, can I submit a resume via video? I think that would be a good aspect. Submitting a Word document resume or a one-page, a hard copy resume is so outdated that I think this might be a real chance for people to distinguish themselves. Our next topic for tonight, let's move on from that one. This one is near and dear to my heart because I've noticed this recently, and it is annoying. Newsfeed, FYI. So this is from Facebook, and they're taking action against video clickbait. And this comes from the Facebook blog on August 17th. As part of our ongoing efforts to fight clickbait and improve the integrity of information on Facebook, we're announcing 2 updates that will limit the spread of stories in newsfeed that feature either fake video play buttons embedded in their imagery or videos only of a static image. And I noticed this happen within the last 2 months, that this became sort of a big thing. And I figured it was some way for people to game the system. People want to see accurate information on Facebook. So do we. People click on an image in their newsfeed featuring a play button. They expect a video to start. Spammers often use fake play buttons to trick people into clicking links to low-quality websites. Similarly, these deceptive spammers also use static images disguised as videos to trick people into clicking on a low-quality experience. To limit this during the coming weeks, we will begin demoting stories that feature fake video play buttons and static images. I think this is a good move. I've seen this become pretty prevalent, I'd say, in the last 60 days. And I think, and rarely does it add anything to, but I started seeing a lot more images. It's kind of a meme or something like that, and it's kind of funny. But it's got this play button in it, but then nothing actually plays. What are your thoughts on this, Joanne?
Good riddance to those. It was so weird when they just randomly started popping up. I'm like, what is this? And it just was like, and I didn't know if it was just something people were creating, because I'm annoyed by the colored posts, any big post and color posts.
Yes, I agree.
That's just been so in your face all day long. So it just screams MySpace to me but I say good riddance to that. And what was the first thing you said that they were?
So it's the fake play buttons and then the static images that play. Those are the 2 items. And I kind of think of them as both the same, right? Because they both seem to start showing up a lot in the last 2 or 3 months.
Right.
Christian, what are your thoughts?
So I think that, one, I'm really glad that they're finally cracking down on this. Here's the thing. If you're a marketer, a lot of people, they try to exploit these options. They exploit it for a split second, or in this case, a couple of, weeks, months, whatever. And then, Facebook shuts it down and then they move on to some other things. I'm glad that they're doing this. A lot of people, they were exploiting the whole, even some of the marketers, the people that you see at, all these conferences and whatnot, a lot of them, they exploit these issues, and they try to use it to their advantage. So I'm really glad they're getting rid of this. A couple of things they're going to do. They're going to demote your post in newsfeed. But the other thing I think also, you kind of have to ask yourself, if I'm the type of person that leverages these tactics to try to get an edge on somebody, if I'm sitting here thinking hey, do I work with that business? That to me right there says, hey, you know what? I shouldn't work with somebody that wants to break the rules and I don't say, these rules have always been in place, but do things that really are not authentic. Because, if I'm if I'm publishing something with an image with a fake play button, maybe I'll put that in a blog post, and have it if I don't really have a video or something. But if I'm doing it on Facebook to encourage clicks, that's not good. So I would say if I'm a business, or if I'm a business owner, I have to look at my ethics. This is something that I think that you need to be authentic in everything that you're doing. So I'm glad that Facebook's cutting down on this. By the way, there is also some other news around this, by the way, Nick and
is
Joanne.
That the one that you sent me in Facebook Messenger just now, the retire? Yeah, so this next item
kind of play hand in hand,
Yeah, it also comes from Facebook. Retiring some uncommon boosted post options. Joanna, we were a little late to get this, so I'll read it here. At Facebook, we're always looking to ensure businesses get the most value from their ads. Today, we are removing the ability to boost some post types that are rarely used and, more importantly, are not closely tied to advertiser objectives. This change will allow us to improve and expand our most effective ad products and help advertisers identify their solutions to help them reach their goals. Historically, businesses have been able to boost any page post type on Facebook, including notes, life events, shared, friendversaries, and even relationship status updates. However, advertisers rarely promoted these post types, and when they did, results were not as strong as results with our more popular ad formats. To see the complete list of post boosting options that will be removed, visit the Advertiser Help Center. In reading this, Christian, I got to tell you, and we do some ads at the company, and I didn't know that some of these options were available, or I wasn't posting friendversaries, so I wasn't concerned about that. I don't think I've ever used notes or life events in our business page. So I don't think I'll be missing anything here from an advertising perspective, and it sounds like that might be part of the reason that this was shut down. What are your thoughts, Joanne?
It sounds to me, and I hope this is it sounds to me that like they're just decluttering, which Facebook needs to do desperately. I mean, there's just stuff everywhere. So maybe that's one step towards that, and that's good. But I didn't know any of those things existed either. So I don't know where. I never even would, I guess, because you would never think to do that. Why would you want to boost some of those items?
That's right. Why would you? It's a great question. Christian, what are your thoughts on this?
So here's the thing. I'm looking at this list, and I'm going to kind of run through these real quick, if that's okay.
Sure.
So here are these are the items that they're going to remove, and this is as of September 15th, 2017. So you have, and by the way, for those of you not looking at your calendar, you only have a couple of weeks on these, by the way. It's almost September. Pretty crazy. So one of those, boosting share of products from shops. I guess that one right there, like that's probably one of the main ones that I would say, hey, maybe somebody would want to use that. If you're like, if I'm running, for instance, I'm wondering if that's a Facebook shop or if they're meeting just, a shop on like your website or something like that. But that one, for instance, primarily sticks out. Boosting the share of a story about a for sale post. Again, I mean, that kind of, if I'm willing to like advertise something for sale, I probably may want to actually boost that post so that it does get some play in the news feed. But a lot of these other items, like place recommendations, sharing of a cultural moment, sharing of comments, boosting change of a profile picture. I'm not sure who would spend money on that one.
Yeah.
Boosting a sporting event. I mean, to me, that actually makes a sporting event. That makes sense to me, like that they should allow that. Boosting a video or image uploaded through the Facebook camera. Boosting the share of a video playlist. I do boosting the status of watching a television show, movie, or other types of programming. Most of those are ones that I would say, hey, you know what, big deal. Like, but there are a couple in there, I guess, where I think that a business could, conceivably still use. But
they're not getting used, I guess, enough for them to continue it. So, and
that's actually, I agree with Joanna here. Like, and the fact that like this is decluttering Facebook. I mean, remove some of these options, simplify. So I'm glad to see they're making it a little bit easier for people.
Yeah, it definitely, I have to agree with Joanne. Facebook needs to declutter big time. And we want to thank everybody for joining here. We have a pretty good group of folks tonight. We have Barb Tomlin, Bree Palmer, Chelsea Pites, Craig Gardner, Joe Wilson, Leslie Gustafson, and Morris Lilienthal. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. And our next topic for tonight, and we have about 3 or 4 more topics, so I'm going to keep us moving along. Facebook now, this is an Instagram article that Christian sent us just a little while ago. This is from August 23rd. It comes from The Verge. Facebook now lets you shoot 360-degree photos inside its app. Facebook has allowed users to upload and view 360-degree photos for a little over a year now, but the social media platform is also adding the ability to capture them too. Starting today, that was August 23rd, both the iOS and Android versions of the Facebook app will allow users to create 360-degree photos without requiring a third-party app or camera. Of course, since your phones don't have 360-degree cameras built in, not yet at least, the process resembles how you create panoramas in your phone's camera app. So to create a 360 photo inside the Facebook app, you scroll to the top of the news feed, tap the 360 photo button, and slowly spin it around for a full turn, all while keeping the graphics centered in the middle. When it's finished, you can pick the starting point for the photo and publish it. So did you post that, Christian, for everybody in the chat?
Yeah, I'm sharing that right now, actually.
So, I think this is maybe not a necessity quite yet, since you can do this it's if you're already in the Facebook app and you want to share a panoramic photo or supposedly 360 photo, then you can do it without having to go to your camera, go to the pano mode and do the pano shot. Instead, you just do it while you're already in the app. Other than that, I don't see the major applicability here. For businesses, I do think, if you had something, especially for those in hospitality and tourism, this is it's a good feature for them to share while they're already in the app. What are your thoughts, Joanne?
Yeah, for me, I have no use for 360 videos. I mean, I find them cool, but I also find them like, oh, I gotta, you always want to look and see what's around, and then you're like, okay, there was nothing there. And, sometimes it's, I think a lot of people just use it because they think it's cool and they're not really using it effectively, you know? So,
right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and I always laugh because I think, I guess it'd be a good thing if I show like what's going on around me. It's just more authentic, although I do show my authentic, space all the time. It's like,
yeah, I was thinking, Joanne, for your business, it would be nice if somebody who had gone through the organization process with you could then show the area that they decluttered. That would be one of those things that I think would be beneficial.
Good testimonial.
Yeah, Chelsea also mentions it's good for real estate, and I think that's accurate. And I think hospitality and tourism would be good. When Christian was at Social Media Marketing World, Christian, you and Jessica were down. I think you were down by the ocean or something like that, or with some seals or sea lions or something like that I recall. And I think she did some 360 pictures or video from that. And in that instance, it's cool. That's something I want to see in 360. I want to get the full experience. But I think for many of us in some of it's nothing I'm going to use for myself or for the company at this point. Christian, what are your thoughts?
So I think one, it's going to come down to the type of business you run. I mean, Chelsea mentioned like real estate. You guys mentioned tourism. I mean, those are great places to use this. Retail business could use this. If I'm a restaurant, for instance, I could use this to get people, look into my dining room. It'd be interesting to see if there was almost like, if I'm a restaurant, I don't know how frequently you'd want to do this, but I could conceivably update my profile photo for, if I do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I could do something for breakfast. I could do something for lunch. I could do something for dinner. Use it as a way to and make, obviously don't just take it of an empty dining room sometimes, but take it of all of your guests. For instance, if you've got a really packed house, it could be a really good way to upsell your restaurant. People see all the people there and they're like, you know what, I'm going to go check that place out. It seems really popular. Interior decorating, Bree mentions that. That's a great idea as well. So I think you have to be really selective about how you use this. Overall, I think, again, I also do a little 360 here and there, but I always do it when I'm in a place where I think that it would be worthwhile for somebody to kind of take a tour with me, because as with three, as you know, with like Facebook cover photos, for instance, which is part of this as well. You can now, you can upload a static image, you can upload a 360 photo here, you can upload a video now as well. So you do have some options, and I think you kind of need to pick which one's going to work for your business the best. Like if you're, for instance, behind a desk all day and you're not really meeting with clients, I mean, you're meeting with them, but you know what I mean? If you're not like if it's just kind of that boring, like it might be hard to do 360, and make it actually worth the time.
I agree. That's why in my business where I am behind a desk all day, I just don't think it would be very valuable for me to be sharing that. If I were on vacation, I think it would be much cooler. Our next item, we've got a couple of more stories here we should get through, Christian, so that so we can get some tools in as well.
And let's make sure we look at those questions, because I think we got some questions too, right?
Some heckling.
Yes, probably some mostly heckling. I missed a question. I do want to thank. We've got a great crew tonight. We've Amber Nora has joined. Also, Chitra Durgam's here. Janelle, the sassy survivor, is here. Joe Wilson showed up, and Nets Wing is here as well. And Danica, thank you for joining, Danica. So we've got a pretty good crew tonight. We've got appreciate everybody for being here. And did you see any questions?
Barb
had one. Barb is always the kind person of our audience. The rest of them,
Let me see. Barb's question: is it appropriate to classify live audio? She's going back to the thing about Facebook retiring certain boosted posts, cracking on clickbait. Is it appropriate to classify live audio as non-authentic? I will answer that. I think that, yes, I think it sort of is. I think I would almost say that could be non-authentic here, depending on how it's used. If it's like just, for instance, the same concept, somebody could take a noise and make it, part of live audio, and really just to kind of get people to, stick around. That could be, a way that people use it. So I could see Facebook maybe banning that at some point, to certain degrees, So I think that, if people are using it in the right way, for instance, if I'm, in a place where I can't do video because I have a poor internet connection, yeah, audio would make sense. Again, it's assess the situation and then figure out what the right tool is for the job.
Agreed. I agree with that fully. I have nothing more to add to that. I think Christian handled that quite well. Mm-hmm. Joanne, any additions to that?
No. Yep. I think a lot of people are excited about that live audio, and I haven't seen much happening since it came out.
I agree. I haven't seen a heck of a lot happen since that came out. Not a lot of usage, I should say.
Yeah.
That could also be the amount of clutter.
Yeah. I was excited for it, and I thought, oh, this is great. And I actually did a couple of them, but then I just kept forgetting it.
Yeah.
And that's a great point. I mean, it really is about, like, there's too many options for people to pick from. Yeah. Kind of going back to what Nick said earlier, like paralysis analysis, whether you're, whether it's writing a blog post over shooting a video, or in this case, deciding whether to do audio. I think you really have to look at it and say, what's going to help me, what's going to help me the most? Like, if I'm not a writer, for instance, it's like, do you think, Joanne, for instance, is it hard to be a writer? Versus, if somebody's really good on camera, like, do you think that, they should try to like blog if video is their strong suit?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I love to write, and but I find that I just don't do it. I'm just, I love to do it, but then I think I almost get more of a brain fog, or like just, the words come out better when I speak, even though they don't really come out better. The thoughts come out better. The words don't always come out better.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Nets also adds this to us. Live audio can't be repurposed because it can't be downloaded yet. So that's why people are sticking to the live audio. So that's also, if I can't reuse it, then it may not be beneficial. Our next story for tonight is also another Facebook story. Obviously, the 800-pound gorilla gets a lot of attention. A new way to buy in-stream video ads on Facebook and audience network. So, and this comes from Facebook. This was also August 17th. While mobile devices used to be reserved for shorter on-the-go content, people now watch longer videos on mobile from publishers and creators they love. At Facebook, we're investing in an ecosystem of short and long-form video content that's built for the range of ways in which people are watching videos and supports the publishers and creators making the content. For example, last week they introduced Watch, a new platform for shows that will, and so that was 2 weeks ago, they introduced Watch, a new platform for shows that will help people discover and connect with more video content. As we expand our range of video ad options, advertisers have told us they want more control over where their ads will appear in newsfeed or in stream during a video. Starting today, we're giving advertisers the option to deliver their video ads specifically to in-stream placements in videos on Facebook, on Audience Network, or across both. So on both Facebook and Audience Network, which I don't even know what that is, Christian, you'll have to clue me in on what Audience Network is. More than 70% of in-stream video ads up to 15 seconds in length are watched to completion, most with the sound on. Using mobile optimized creative that's 15 seconds or less, advertisers can capture consumer attention on mobile, increasing the likelihood that their video ads will be watched to completion. And with Facebook's people-based marketing, in-stream ads are targeted and delivered to the right people at the right time, achieving an average on-target rate of 89%. I have seen some in-stream ads, and I found them to be quite annoying, and I found the content with which they're attached to so far as not high enough quality for me to sit through an in-stream ad. So I'm interested to hear what your guys' take is on this. What say you, Joanne?
I've seen them as well, and I feel like every once in a while there's a video that it's worth sitting there, but I'm not paying attention to the ad. And in fact, some of that is, for me, is very disruptive. So I'm gonna put something very negative towards that ad. Now, that said, if there was, say, a show, so we'll use Chelsea as an example. If she does the Facebook TV, I wouldn't mind putting an ad in the middle of her show, because it would apply, to many of my clients, and they would be, it would fit. But sometimes I feel like, if they can get it down to that point where you could choose where, maybe not the exact show, but you could say, I only want to be on these type of streams. I don't want to be on, I love kittens and puppies, but if I pop up in a kitten and puppy thing, people are just going to get mad at me for interrupting their cute story. That's the way
I agree. I have not noticed that the ads are as targeted as they claim in this article. Christian, what are your thoughts?
I think, by the way, for those of you, I see a lot of questions in the chat here. People are asking one about, is that ads in the middle of the video every single time I keep scrolling? They are, they can be ads in the middle of the video, yes. So I'm actually going to post a link here. Actually, I meant to get this to everybody. There's actually a video here of somebody that's making a chocolate geode. There's a video here where they have an ad that is popping up in the middle. A couple things I like. I like the fact that people are able to place ads or to have the option to choose from where their ads are going to go. They like the fact that their ads are going to be able to, do I only want it to show up on mobile? Do I want it to show up on desktop? And other, certain locations and so forth. Yes, I want that. I'm glad that advertisers have the options there. It's going to come back to, if I'm an advertiser, or if I'm a business owner, I want to make sure that I am, again, picking the right places to put my ads. Some things only work great on mobile. Some things work great on desktop. You need to be very selective about where you're putting your ads, and don't just put it out there and say, hey, I'm going to hit everywhere. I need to think about where it's going to look its best. Maybe it is the mobile device. And if it is, then I need to be really good at testing it. I need to look at it and see, does my video actually fit, with where my audience is at and that sort of thing as well. So I like the fact that they're doing this. By the way, speaking of Facebook Audience Network, that is essentially Facebook's way of letting you advertise to places outside of Facebook. So like, you know, on websites and all that sort of stuff as well. So,
which I
so
see.
that's like their Google AdWords type of thing. That's their.
it's similar. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll actually get you guys a link to that as well. Cause, Facebook Audience Network.
I see that all the time now. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
pop up into something and I'm like, all right, how did this get here? And then I think, oh, Facebook. I was just looking at it on Facebook. Go into another site and there it is. And it's probably coming from, like I'm clicking on it from Facebook and it's just bringing the ad right over.
Huh. Interesting.
Basically, it's to let people, Audience Network is to let people extend their campaigns beyond Facebook into other mobile apps.
Okay.
So again, but I kind of go back to what you all both say, which is, you know, like it's disrupting the process.
Yeah.
If I'm watching a video, for instance, like I want to see a video, like if I have to watch an ad, I want to see something that is relevant to what I'm watching.
Yeah.
I don't want to see, you know, I don't want to see like, oh, I'm watching a chocolate geode ad here, and all of a sudden I get interrupted with the travel ad.
Yeah, that was my thought too. You know, I thought the chocolate geode, when I saw that, I thought that's pretty cool. I did see that a month or some time ago. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. But had they put an ad in the video with that, I'm done watching that. I don't care that much about the chocolate geode.
What they should have done, you know, what would have been, I guess, the best option in the situation would have been if I'm watching the chocolate geode ad, or if I'm watching the chocolate geode thing, and you know, maybe I'm the people that make the chocolate, for instance. Like that would be a good placement for you to put the chocolate or the equipment, or maybe there's some sort of article or some sort of tutorial or something else. Like, for instance, if I'm like Food Network, I would probably say, hey, you know what? Let me, like, if I have an article that shows you like my own, like, you know, hey, here's how to do it in like 5 minutes or less or something, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
I would want to run my ad with that because somebody's watching it. Now they're like, hey, I want to make that myself. And they see the video and it's, in this case, trained chefs and whatnot. Then I want to actually, like, I want something that's maybe a step down, you know, to where I can actually like repeat that, you know, process and make my own.
Yeah. Yeah. So our last story for tonight is an Instagram story. It comes from Instagram, August 17th. It comes from the Instagram blog, New Ways to Reply with Photos and Videos. Today we're introducing new ways to reply with photos and videos that help you have fun, visual conversations with your friends. Now you can reply with a photo or video to specific photos, videos, and reshared posts in direct. So your reply will automatically include a sticker of what you're replying to. Just hit reply to open the camera, take a selfie, and send. So I think this is good. So if I see a post that somebody's done, that Christian's posted or Joanne's posted, and I want to send a video or you know, the example that they show has Joanne's picture of her dog right in the picture that I took, and I think that's fun. I do think this is I think somebody like Chocolate Johnny, who makes chocolate in Australia, has Perfection Chocolates in Australia, I think he could have a lot of fun with this feature. That's the type of brick and mortar store I see using this type of thing. You also have the option to send a split screen reply by tapping the sticker, add your own perspective by drawing on the sticker, whether you're painting a mustache on your friend's selfie or doodling on a beach photo. So I think these are fun. I think they're interactive and fun, and great ways to repurpose content that, say, Joanne or Christian has already shared that I want to kind of reshare. It'll be a matter of me remembering that I have this option available to me. What are your thoughts, Joanne?
I just quickly looked at that, and my initial thought was, oh, they're trying to appeal to the younger crowd for younger meaning teenagers. Everybody's younger than me, but I think they really want the teens and the millennials to use stories. But you know, and from just interviewing my kids and other kids around, they're not using them. So I think that's part of it, because the back and forth is kind of a struggle. But I like having the context of when you're responding to something, you can actually see what, somebody's responding to. So I'm
Right.
assuming that's from the feed. Like if I posted something in the feed, you can direct message with that. Is that with stories too? That's the part I wasn't sure.
Didn't say that it was in stories. It looked like it was from the feed to direct.
Okay.
That's how I'm reading it. Christian, what do you think?
Yeah, it's Instagram Direct, which is their private messaging feature. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, when you reply in a story with a direct message, I was just wondering if you had the same ability.
Now, unfortunately, I don't have the option yet, and I don't have this because it rolls out in version like 24, or was it 24, 34? I don't know. I don't really look at the versions of Instagram. 10.34, actually. I don't look at the versions of Instagram's on, so I haven't actually had the ability to test this. But, again, I mean, Instagram's constantly rolling out some new features. Now, part of the reason why, by the way, they're doing this is also because they want to really tap into that younger demographic. There was a study also that recently came out, I think it was this week, talked about Instagram and Snapchat usage, how Facebook was really losing market share to that audience you were talking about.
When did they ever have it? That's what I was reading that and going, they barely had it. So I don't know what they're saying they're losing. They never really had it.
Well, so Facebook's losing a lot of market share to the teenage crowd, but they're not just losing it for they're losing it for Snapchat, but they're making it up in a way on Instagram because that audience is basically going to Snapchat and Instagram. Facebook owns Instagram. I personally, I think this, again, it goes back to the stuff we talked about last week. I think if I'm a business owner, this could be particularly useful if I do have a lot of conversations with people, like in private messages on Instagram. This could be a great way to keep up with a lot of those conversations, especially that little sticker feature, because it basically takes the sticker and automatically includes it of what you're replying to, which I think is pretty neat. So like I kind of know like, hey, that's kind of off my checklist, of things to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the split screen feature, I think that's actually a pretty cool little feature. I just, I don't know. That doesn't add a whole lot of value for me, at least as a business. Great, I can doodle and add, other like give interesting looks to like kind of going back to like the stuff you talked about earlier with Facebook having those colored boxes on the status update. This kind of reminds me of like it's very similar to that. I think
right.
Just a way to stand out a little bit more. But overall, I'm glad they're adding some of these features. I think almost want to say Instagram's a testing ground for Facebook.
I agree that they're very much that way. Janelle says she can see how interactive that IG feature that IG feature could add to interaction with customers or community. Interaction on the app is lacking quite a bit, and I that's been my experience, that engagement is lacking. You can heart something and move on, and that seems to be what I do a lot of the time, and rarely do I comment. I've been trying to be better about commenting. Also, I'm going to note right there that Janelle is our guest for next week. So thank you, Janelle, for being here. And Christian, why don't we jump into some tools before our time is up tonight, because we're getting pretty close.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let's talk about some tools here. So the first tool I have for everyone tonight is called PicFlow. This is an Instagram tool. Let me actually pull this up for everybody. And by the way, I want to thank everybody who's tuning in tonight. I'm really glad we have such a big audience tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's see. Let me do a little screen share, Nick.
Okay.
Okay, so first tool, it's PicFlow. Basically, it's a way for you to take again, you've kind of seen this stuff before, but it's basically a way for you to create a photo slideshow, mix your photos and music, add your photos, add some music, record some timings, which I think is pretty cool, and then share out your video specifically for Instagram. Again, this is a freemium app. They have some additional features, like you can unlock some transitions and some other pro features as well. But this is PicFlow for Instagram. Again, it's an app for making it easier for you to create different types of content to share on your Instagram channel. So you're not just sharing the same exact thing, over and over and over. Hey, I've got that staged photo, or hey, here I am recording a video, or I'm talking on video or on camera. PicFlow lets you create a slideshow, which I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like that. If I used Instagram more than I currently do, I think this is something I would employ. Joanne, what are your feelings about this? How often do you use Instagram?
Rarely.
Okay.
I've done a couple of stories here and there. I find that being on location is good because when you put your location in, but I got tons of views, absolutely no interaction, except from my Snap friends. And then as far as, and the picture feed, I do, I'll use it here and there. I'm not consistent with it. It's low on the totem pole. I like I said earlier, I like to keep my focus. It's pretty much Facebook and Snapchat for me. And then I am everywhere and I will pop in here and there, but I put most of my effort into Facebook and Snapchat.
Okay.
And what was the question? Oh, so about using this. Yeah, I pretty much every picture that pops up on my Instagram feed, my daughter takes. So I don't take very good photos. So unless I'm promoting something like this tonight,
Right.
it's not me.
And that's how I probably could use it more effectively. Christian, will you be using this tool?
I will use it sporadically. Here's the thing: I like to say there's a lot of apps on like my mobile device. There are a lot of one-off apps. They do something fairly quickly. Reason why is if I'm out and about and I want to create, I want to do some work. I don't have my laptop with me that might have more powerful tools on it. I will use this, for certain things. Again, I mean, it's about picking the tool, the right tool for the job. I mean, you kind of have to look at what your audience, like for instance, if you're trying to build engagement on Instagram and you're not getting it, maybe you want to experiment with a tool like this. I mean, what does it cost you? Nothing really. It's free, or freemium app. So it's free and you can at least try it out a little bit, see if, you can put together some really neat things, set some timings. For instance, like I could create a slideshow if I'm at a conference or I'm in an event. Fantastic for something like that. We might, heck, we could even experiment it with this for the show and put together a quick little video recap if we want to. So I think you have to be selective about how you're going to use it.
Okay. And what's our last topic for tonight?
The last tool for tonight actually is,
thank you.
And this one's actually a really, really neat one. It's called Narro, Narro. I dropped the links there in the chat, actually. I think I did them. Let me see. Well, we'll check that in a minute. But basically what Narro is, actually here, let's see. Yep, here we go. Let me drop this in the link first. So this is an iOS and an Android app. Very, very, very neat app. What this does is it lets you save a web page, which could include a blog post. You could take a PDF and you can add it to Narro, and Narro will turn it into audio for you. So you essentially have, and it's done automatically, so you'll have transcribed, apparently clear audio here that you can listen to when you're on the go. And this is, one of those time-saving apps. Very simple. Like in iOS, for instance, there's the share option down here at the bottom. And this will actually let you quickly add an article to Narro. It'll process it, and then you can listen to it. Whether you're, for instance, maybe you take the train to work, maybe you're in your car, maybe you're like, at the airport waiting around. You can easily save this and listen to your, articles that you've been meaning to get to.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Very cool.
It is good. If I were a commuter, I think I would have more need for this. But I have such a short commute that I don't think that it will. This will be beneficial to me. But I like the idea.
Yeah, and I do want to just mention real quick. I mean, so Narro, the app is free. It's iOS, it's Android, but and you can actually test it out as well. So if you download the app, they have some ways to try it out there. But they do have a free plan and a pro plan. The free plan gives you basically 15 articles per month. Lets you sync from Pocket and Instapaper. You can create. It also has the ability to extract audio from YouTube and Vimeo videos, which I think is pretty fantastic as well. Obviously, no Facebook Live mentioned there. But then if you step over their pro feed, their pro version, it lets you do, you can create readings from PDFs. It's like 50 cents per hour, so it's very low cost. You can also email articles or text into your feed, RSS feed integration. for those of you who kind of get tired of like, you don't want to listen to the same like boring person talking, you can create a rotation of voices as well, which I think is pretty neat.
That's cool.
That is cool.
It keeps you interested. You're not hearing the same like, the same GPS voice or whatever, So
yeah,
Narro.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Janelle says she'd go for a British accent. Well, I wanna thank everybody for being here tonight. Very, very cool. We had a great group of folks here. Joanne, tell us a little bit about where people can find you if they're looking for you.
Pretty much just look my name up. It's not common, and I will pop up. But so my website is joannecrowell.com. My Facebook is Joanne Crowell, the Sensible Organizer. I'm Joanne Crowell on Twitter, Instagram. Pinterest I'm not. I'm Sensible ORG, I think. Yes. So yeah, but everything's there on the website. I think all my social links are there too. But like I said, I'm pretty much, while I use every platform, my focuses are Facebook and Snapchat, which I'm also Joanne Crowell at Snapchat too.
Joanne Crowell, yep. And J-O, capital J-O, capital A-N-N is usually how I find you.
Yep.
Yep. So she lives on Snapchat, Leslie is saying. So
Yep.
Thank you to everybody who's here. Christian, you have any wrap-up items for people before we close off?
Just a quick heads up. The show is at next week's show, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we switched the time. We're going to try this whole 10 p.m. thing because we've got a bunch of crazy time zones we're working with. It's currently about 6 o'clock in the morning now here. So we're going to be having the show at 10 p.m. next week, Eastern Standard Time. Who do we have on next week, Nick?
Janelle, the Sassy Survivor, will be our guest next week.
And, for those of you who have questions or want to connect with us, just check out, if you want to get, like, for instance, the blog recap we'll post, just go to socialchefs.com/subscribe. That'll get you on the list. We'll get you notified. If you haven't connected with us on our social channels, please do so. We're at Social Chefs on all of our channels. So I want to thank everybody for watching, but I'm going to turn it back over to Nick, let him close out the show.
That's it for tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your support, and we thank our guest, Joanne Crowell, one more time. Thanks, Joanne, for doing this. I know it's late where you're at, and Christian, I know it's early where you're at. Really appreciate everybody being here tonight, and hope to see you next week.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.